Hi guys, thank you for coming to my channel. We're doing the FIA Manufacturers Round 3 today. I decided to take a slightly different avenue on this, and instead of doing a live stream, doing actual recording, trim things down, and just kind of make everything a little more brief and easier to consume that in that way. We're starting out here in, I did 2 races. We're starting out here in the qualifying portion of the first race, and as you can guess, given the format, if we're doing 2 races, first race didn't come out so hot, which you'll see. I did not qualify too well in this first round. I drove okay. I always get, I guess, ladder anxiety is a best way to put it when it comes to actually performing. But I don't know, we'll see. This is just the one lap that I did, the best lap of the 2 that I was able to get in, so go ahead and let that play out the rest of the way. Yeah, so as you can see, that really did not play out very well. In practice times, I put out a 137.3, 137.4, and I'm just way off the mark here. You'll see where I qualified here. Here's the lineup. Here we are, 14th. Not my best qualifying session by a margin, but I do get some work done despite it, but it still doesn't come out so hot. So here we are, start of the race. I was a little concerned about, I couldn't really, where I'd not done a start from here, I wasn't sure where I was going to start, and I was really hoping I'd be able to get past that first turn there. Thankfully we do. Grabbing up the slipstream here, make sure I stay in it. We're already gaining pretty well, but it's not going to be enough to even attempt to make a move on the first turn. Traffic bunching up, but that's good. That's just going to bring us in tighter so we can start making some moves. A little bit of an over rev, but I'm still able to get it up in beside him here. Not quite able to keep it there. Slide back up, and one's already gone off. So we still gain a position in the end, but not due to our own prowess. Got one riding tail behind us, getting a good run on the Mercedes. Yeah, we're definitely going to be able to send that up right on the inside. Can we make it stick? Ooh, a little tap from behind helps us get a little boost, so we do make it stick. Our first round through the chicane of death. Yeah, it didn't go so well. He brakes early. Well, it went fine, but he ends up braking early. Boost him forward. We all end up through it all right. And we say goodbye to hashtag goodbye. He goes really wide. turns really well. It took a while to get those turns right in this car, but I seem to have made it just fine. Right up on the bumper of the Subaru here. Looks like the Porsche is serving a penalty. Setting a purple sector, pushing through. He catches a little bit of grass, which I think helps propel us forward here. Up on the inside, maybe a little bit too aggressive, but I kind of felt like I'd already got my nose in there, but maybe not. Ended up braking a little bit too early there, so he was able to reclaim the position. Round 2 through the chicane of death. Is it going to claim anybody on this lap? Oh, catch the wall, but we're all through just fine. Had a much better exit here than the Subaru. Get a great run on him. We're going to go ahead and be able to get this moved to stick here. Brake appropriately, get a nice inside line, and moving on. A little bit of over rev, but not too much. Gaining quite a bit off this slipstream. I have noticed that with the slipstream changes, it is not as powerful as it was, but I really do agree with it. I always felt the slipstream was just way too powerful. Good run on him here. Gonna try to send it up the inside. I just don't like it. Pull out. And we got another one off here. He's able to tuck in right in front of us there. Getting slowed down a little bit by this Porsche. Trying to make the run. Just cannot quite get past him up the hill. Gonna try to go on the inside. Brake. Did definitely get the brake later than him, but I ended up going a little bit further than I wanted to. And that Porsche just has so much better handling. He's able to just jump right on the inside, and that small connection with the wall there definitely did not help. Tried to ride the inside, slam him into the wall, and messes me up just as much as it does him, but a bump from the back propels us forward, and we're able to get through the chicane just fine. Going 2 abreast through that chicane there is never an ideal situation, especially if you're on the outside. Took the turn up, and we're on our way to the line. Hooking it up. Another one's off here. We're gonna sail on by. Nothing really happens here for just a little bit, so we're gonna skip ahead and see you on the other side. Alright, coming back in on lap 5. I'm gonna go ahead and pit. I probably could have stayed out longer, but I just wasn't feeling comfortable on the tires. This whole first race was kind of experimental as it was. I did do a little bit of practice, but not enough, and I just wasn't feeling comfortable on the tires, so go ahead and change them out. For our first pit, do a little bit of gassing, not too much. Probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to gas up more than I did. But you can see we got a group in front of us here. Tightly packed. There's about 4 cars. On the medium tires, we're still going to have pretty decent grip, pretty decent acceleration. We're going to see if we can't catch up with them. Looks like 5 cars, actually. Alright. Little early on that turn, but get on the accelerator just fine. Ooh, caught a little bit of the inside of that curb. Oh, 12 is off. Got a duck just a little bit to miss hitting that BMW as he enters the track. right. Woo! Little bit too early on the accelerator, or a little too hard on the accelerator. Coming through the chicane once again for the 6th time. Everything goes fairly smoothly. A little bit of contact on the wall, slowing us down just a bit, but at least we're facing the right way. Alright, late apex. Much better than some of the turns I've taken so far. Not perfect, but decent. Missed the apex by quite a bit, dipping onto the other side of the curb. Not a very good entrance, not a very good exit there, but not really losing any time. Trying to abuse that corner as much as possible. Just about midway there is a good point I found for braking. And I definitely found my rhythm in the second race more. But that's such a fun turn to take there. You can cut that corner kind of nicely without setting off any kind of penalty. And then you come into that next turn. It's a lot of fun there. They're going 3 abreast into this turn. Bumping a little bit. This is not going to look good if they want to try to keep this fighting up. Ooh, he's catching the wall. I think the chicane might finally have a victim. No, we're going to get through. All right. The Alpha catches the wall a little bit. We're going to try to come around. The Canadian here doesn't seem to remember that we're right here on the inside. Barely keeping it on the track there, but he does seem to have catch a 2-second penalty for that. Slightly into the back of the Alpha, and he ducks down to pit. Got a good run on the Alpha. Coming inside as a Porsche comes out of the pit lane. A little far up ahead. We're not going to try to make the move. I'm going to just tuck in. This area is a little difficult, I think, for trying to get overtakes done unless somebody messes up. Not that we're close enough to really go for the move, but if we had been a little sloppy on the turn, keep it together just fine. Not too bad. I broke a little bit early here, but it's alright. We're losing time. Keeping up fine. Alright, closed a little bit of a gap on that turn. Through the chicane for the 8th time. Little bit of the wall caught there. Oh, Porsche catches the inside wall and just destroys himself. From that point, it's a little dull for a while, so we're going to skip forward to lap 12. We're going to go ahead and jump into the pits. We've kind of imposed a timer on ourselves here. We're out of gas, and pitting any additional times is not going to be worth it, even though the pit times really aren't too bad here. So we're just going to go ahead and change over the hard tires, fill up the rest of our tank, and be gone. Lose about 20 seconds there, almost 21 seconds there in the pit. We're going to move on forward because there's just still not much going on. There's about 11 seconds to the leader and 6 seconds to the driver behind. After a few laps, the guy behind's made up about 3 seconds worth of time. We're coming into the chicane for the 15th time, and this one isn't so good. We end up pulling the same move the Porsche did. Heavy damage to the engine to the point where we're actually blinking. Pretty much the whole front end of our car is screaming at us, and it's just going to add a lot more damage to us in regards to our time, as we're forced to fight the engine just to get around this curve here and then up the hill. I'm pretty sure it was set to light at this point. I was pretty sure it was set to light. I couldn't remember. So that should heal, and yep, there it goes. Heals up, and we're able to move on. But it just caused. Here we are. We're going to hemorrhage another position. And if you thought that was the worst of it, just wait. Because as we go to follow goodbye through the chicane, out of nowhere, smashed right in the side. That was one hell of a lunge, and obviously he has no remorse for what he does. He doesn't even bother to slow down, just continues on. Still not over with the imminent demise of our race as we're coming through the, well, what really is the final turn. I brake, but I guess I broke a little late. It wasn't really that much later than I had been, and just having difficulty getting traction as we get back on the course, trying to get it spun around, getting it in the right direction, fighting the dirt, trying to get it on the pavement, lose traction again. This thing's got so much torque, and especially with these hard tires on this angle of the track, it's just an absolute pain. But we finally get it running again, and honestly, that was the end of that match there. Come back in and finish, I think, 18th. Yeah, there wasn't 20 drivers in this, so just shy of last place. Just absolutely disappointing. The worst race I've had, I think, in the season. We're only 3 races in, so. Gonna go ahead and jump into the qualifier of the next race, and qualifying really does not go very well here. The last qualifier, at least I was able to put in a qualifying lap, technically. Granted, it was quite a bit slower than what I've been doing in practicing, but not nearly as bad as what we see here. And despite what we end up setting in qualifying, this actually ended up being an extremely good race. Now, while I'm running through here, I'm seeing this group in front of me, and I don't know, I've just got a bad feeling. Just a bad feeling about it. I'm close enough, I should have a little bit of a slipstream, or hopefully I can at least get close enough after the chicane to grab it off that Lamborghini. But then as soon as I see this, just my brain's screaming at me that I really need to back off, but I'm wanting to set that time and I don't listen to myself, and boom, he's in the wall, and I connect with the rear of him, and 2-second penalty. It's just absolute carnage because they wanted to fight through the chicane. So luckily no engine damage or anything that we have to heal. A little bit of aero damage and suspension damage, but we're just going to move on. That time affected not only the lap we were on by disqualifying that lap, but affected the next lap when we had to lose 2 seconds at the penalty line. So we're going to fast forward through the lineup here. A couple of the names that we see here are some of the names we saw in the last race. Let's see. I know the guy who hit us on the chicane and just straight spun us around is in here somewhere. I want to say he was driving a Corvette, but I may be wrong. I just remember specifically that it was yellow. I remember his name, I just can't remember it offhand. And yeah, we're down to 18th. Not good. Not good. Even worse than the last qualifier. So hopefully we can make something of this race. 18 laps, 18th position. In theory, we can make up a position each lap and win this race. It won't be that good, but I promise it'll actually turn out to be a fairly decent placement by the time this is all said and done. And I notice where this timer is going to stop, I'm so easy on the gas to make sure we don't end up having a reproduction of what we saw on like lap 17 of the last race, where just losing traction due to just the massive amount of torque that this thing has. So got a little bit of a gap already open up opening up behind us. That's just a testament, really, to just how amazing this car is in a straight line. Just kind of hanging out here, waiting to see if there's going to be any kind of weird openings, or maybe they end up getting too much on top of each other. A little bit of bouncing around up front that you can see. I could have probably tried to squeeze up beside him, but ended up not needing to worry about it because he ended up putting himself back in position. A little bit more bouncing around in front of us. Going to squeeze into the side next to this Canadian. Push, push, push. Can't quite get it. Gonna make it. No. We were able to at least stay in. Nothing, didn't get slammed off the track or anything, so good race so far. Gonna go ahead and let him take the position back, or keep the position, and not try to fight him too hard on this, because chicane of death. So, gonna keep it a little bit slow. Let's just keep single file through here, so we can try to get to a better overtaking position. Made it through just fine, and should get the run on him here. Absolutely, the Hyundai just has no straight line speed whatsoever. Pull in next to him, get it done, moving on. Push, push, push. As you can see, there's a couple people diving off to go ahead and do their one lap on the hards. We're going to continue on. It's absolutely no trouble whatsoever gaining on this Porsche here. They kind of dip back over as the other guy gets defensive with him. He tries to go around, but stays defensive. They don't seem to like each other too much, so I'm a little wary. A gap opens up in the middle. Oh, but we're tagged from behind. I'm barely able to keep it on the road as GTR goes off in front of us, and the Canadian driver, who couldn't quite see us from the last match, gets a little dirty with us and shoots us through and actually takes our position. We're going to try to tried to go around the inside, but he didn't swing out as much as I was anticipating. That's alright, we've got a good run on this Lexus. Again, he tries to just wedge us off. I don't know if this guy has any peripherals whatsoever, but if he does, he's probably choosing to ignore them. Alright, pushing through. Chicane of death for the second time this race. Let's try our best to have no repeat as it was before. Excellent run. The Porsche gets contact with the wall, and we're going to pass up the Lexus, the Renault, and maybe even the Hyundai for a second time. And, well, there goes the Canadian again. Going to push through, and we gain 3 positions by help of the Canadian, knocking the Hyundai aside. Push, push, push. Opening up a half-second gap to behind. On the brakes. Into the chicane. Hooking it up nicely. Exiting nicely. A little late on the gas. That's alright. I'd rather be late on the gas than too early. Sitting behind our Nissan brethren here. Sorry, friend, but as much as I want us all to succeed, I want to succeed harder, so I'm going to try to hunt him down. Fastest sector. Little early on the brakes, but hook it up nice. Nice and smooth on the right, nice and smooth on the left. No need to lift, excellent. You know, you've really done those turns well if you're not having to lift on the exit of the last bit of the S's. On the brakes, a little bit of a group in front. Took it a little wider than I wanted to, but we're able to keep some decent time. Setting another fastest sector. Maybe coming in here for a fastest lap. Nice move through. He's got a bad exit, a little wobbly you can see, so we're going to get the run on him. Listen to that engine in stereo. Beautiful. Real nice hookup on the inside of that apex. Powering through. On into the line. Are we going to set that fastest lap? Got it. 138.0. So much better than we did in qualifying, and not excessively far away from what we've been doing in practice. Gonna hook up that apex nice, hook this one up nice, and let's see if we can't hunt down these pair of Corvettes. Just grabbing the inside corner of the curb there. See if we can get around these Corvettes in the Mazda. I'll tell you what, this is a scary sight for me. It always seems that anytime I have any kind of major trouble in a race, it's usually due to somebody in a Corvette ramming me off the road or anything else that they can possibly get. Mazda losing this tail end just a little bit there, getting wobbly. We're going to pass him up, take advantage. Coming in nice. Caught up successfully with the Corvettes here. Corvette's losing a little bit of speed and try to come in. He comes in too early. Knocks us into the wall. We lose a little bit of speed there. We're going to get through fine. Yep, and the Corvette catches the wall. Going to go around the outside. Barely miss the wall ourselves. Power on through. Got the move done. Brake. Can we hit our apex? A little bit too wide, but that's alright. Power out. Continue on. We should be just inside the slipstream range here. The Corvette probably won't get close enough for a move, but it will help us gain a few tenths at least. Alright, up to within a half second of the Corvette. On the brakes. Into the turn. Excellent. A little bit of an over rev, but through there just fine. Push. You can really abuse that corner, and it was really in this race, or in the last race, that I figured out how much you could abuse that corner, and I really put that, tried to apply that for this race, and it really seemed to help. Pushing through, wider than I'd like to be, but still able to hook up the turn just fine. Soft tires are still holding up pretty well, and I think I was in a better position on the wear of my tires at this point in this race than I was at this point in the prior race. Alright, group of 4 up in front. Never a good sign when you're going to the chicane. Are they going to be alright? Because I see them 2 abreast up there. Alright, looks like one's going to back out. The Corvette's going to try to think about capitalizing, and nope. And there's one into the wall. We're into the back of the Corvette due to it. Lose a little bit of momentum, but still keep it in order. At least we're not the car that made connection with the wall. Corvette, I think, behind us still. The yellow one, going to keep it defensive. Through, and there's the Porsche, the Corvette. Porsche's no problem. Corvette's no problem. We're going 3 wide, down the straight. But ultimately, neither of those cars can keep up with the top end of this Nissan. And due to how close those cars were, I was having a little bit of flashbacks last race. Just hoping and praying I was going to make through it there just fine, and we do. Alright, abusing this corner once more. Excellent, pushing through, brake. And on we go. Excellent, not running too slow compared to our fastest lap. Making good time. You'll notice I actually stayed out longer on these softs than I did in the previous lap. We came in at the end of lap 5, and I believe I actually pushed out all the way through lap 8 on these one set of tires, and I think it really helped when you see where we finish that I stayed on these tires longer. Because the softs, I don't know, because the softs have so much grip, as long as you can adjust to the tire wear, you can still get a lot of grip, and everything just kind of came together in my mind and for this race, and I was able to just kind of keep things together. Trying to go around the outside of this Mercedes on the turn, not quite able to do it. Maybe if my tires were a little younger, I could have pushed through there a little harder, but it's alright because we've got the run on him here. Dipping past a couple people that are in the pits there, So we're up to a pseudo third place. Try to leave him some room. He comes a little wide. Maybe I just didn't anticipate the swing out due to that turn being a little tight if you're that closely inside. But got the job done. Moving on. And now it looks like we're 6 seconds. It's a little hard to read. 6 seconds to the guy in second. So really all we want to do is just try to lower that gap as much as possible. We're almost halfway through this race, and the softs are still doing alright. Building up a little bit of a gap to fourth behind us. Bringing that gap down, dipping into 5 seconds. And yeah, the Mercedes just, I don't know if he just completely misjudged his braking point. If I pissed him off at some point. Maybe his tires are worn. Maybe a combination of all three, I don't know. But he just absolutely sends it up the inside. And I'm a little frustrated coming out of the chicane there with the completely unnecessary contact, but what can you do? Come around the corner, hook up the apex pretty well, a little bit of a slide on, and it looks like we're just going to go ahead and pit. Part of why I pitted here, I just wanted to sit for a second, refuel, change the tires, and just kind of let that frustration go, because that sudden hit just kind of really jarred me. In hindsight, I wish I had fueled up more here. It would have allowed me to stay on my mediums longer. Because I still would have needed to refuel a little bit. I know the marker was all the way to the end of the fuel gauge, but, you know, that wasn't going to be the amount of... That full tank still wouldn't have carried me through all the way to the end of the race. So we'll just throw in approximately half of what I'm going to need between there. I really didn't know what I needed, and I really wish I had refueled more, because then I could have stayed out on my mediums longer. And the only reason I do pit on the next pit is I'm out of gas, and at that point I might as well just change out for the hards instead of wasting time pitting again. I'm going to try to inch up on him here. Not quite able to do it. Getting the inside run, or outside run, excuse me, but having that inside position is a much better position. Trying to go around the outside, not quite able to keep it. Having that inside line, you kind of are able to get your car straightened out a little faster, and so you're not worried about over-accelerating there and losing your back end. But he seems to biff it coming out, and we're able to just go ahead and take the position from here. So remain a little bit defensive in case he wants to try to come around. Still keep a good apex. Slightly adjusting to the medium tires as we come around. There's a couple in the pits. We're going to beat them out. Looks like they're changing over to the hards. Most likely they'll just be in for one lap and out on their mediums after. For one more pit. Or softs for that matter. Well, I guess it'd be difficult to run softs that long, so probably already took their softs. But we beat them out of the pits. At the halfway mark, take your brake, take your apex, on the gas. Already built up a 1.3 second to the Corvette behind us. I'd noticed when I'd see him throughout, kind of here and there, as our pit strategies crisscrossed. I really didn't have too much trouble with that black Corvette in general. 5 seconds to 6th place. At this point, most everybody should be out of their second pits by now, so this should be a little bit closer to our true position, up in 7th, and setting in a purple sector for sector 2. Feeling good, might be able to hook these up and set a new fastest lap. that apex ride. I'd like to see a faster lap here. Accelerate out really well. Push, 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 and fastest lap. However, you'll notice at the same time, somehow I managed to hit the exact time down to the thousandths of a second to reset a fastest lap of the same time. So, look at these turns up real well. What are the odds? Abuse this corner. A little bit of a jump there, but we're alright. Maybe abused it a little too much. Nice entry, nice exit. Alright, so we've got our eyes on somebody. It's always nice to have a car out in front of you that you can see. Gives you something to work for, as opposed to it just being a number on your dash. A little bit of contact there. Gear down to try to get back some of that momentum. P1's pitting on mediums, 4% fuel left. So they're going to be in the pits for just a second. Alright, up into pseudo fifth, now to pseudo fourth. As you can't really know what your true position is, where you have different strategies going on, different tire combinations, different fuel strategies. Abuse your corner. Still a little bit of overabuse where I keep catching the inside of that curb. Not as good as inside, decent out. Got to be so careful here. Really just ease into the power, because especially in this car, you will lose that back end here. Through the chicane for the 11th time. Ooh, a little bit closer than I've been, I think, on most of the turns so far. Really had to internally scream at myself to get off the power there, because I was afraid we were going to have a recreation last race. Around the turn. P2's in the pits, throwing away those hards. P3's jumping into the pits. Oh, down, look, yeah, and as you notice, they were going real slow. They're at 0% fuel there, so they're barely chugging in. A little too aggressive on that start of the chicane. Now at this point, 7 seconds to the lead and 2 seconds to the guy behind. So we're kind of feeling lonely, but we're just going to get our heads down, try to hook up all our turns, just set as hard a lap as we can, and just try to bring that time down to our front. Checking my fuel at this point, and I don't know why I decided to check it right here, going at the entrance to this just horrible part of the track. I get myself distracted just a bit and about put it in the wall. But get it together, lose a little bit of time, but at least we didn't lose the complete control of the car. Down to 2.4 laps remaining, 23%. And at this point, I've got a self-imposed timer on myself on how much longer I'm going to be allowed to use these mediums. As you can see, they're really not doing too bad at this point. I've been on for a couple laps now, and I really wish I could have run these all the way up to the start of lap 18, jumped in for the hards, and just finished out the race. Especially with how well I was doing on the much more destroyed softs. You know, I probably could have done pretty well and maybe taken one position higher by the end of the race. Maybe. We're dependent on the pace, but it would have been possible across all these laps to maybe have trimmed the time down enough. A little sloppy on the entrance and exits there. Going around for a 13th time through the S's. On the power. Push, push, push. A little bit of a lift. Push, push, push. The gap to the guy behind us has come down a bit, mostly due to our performance at this location last lap. Just gained for the 13th time. Look it up just nicely. I was really ecstatic just to find myself in second place here. Laps have been going really well. I knew this was, you know, probably a little bit of a ways from my true position, but because I still did have one more pit to go. P4 jumping into the pits behind us. I did have one more pit. You know, I knew this wasn't my true position, but I was really hoping that I was at least close. But I probably wasn't too close, considering there wasn't any kind of gap to third. This will be our final lap before we pit. Just down to 8%. 0.9 laps remaining on our fuel. If I had been able to qualify higher, I could have probably, you know, sat behind P1 and tried to do a little bit of fuel saving to save myself some time. And it just, I started so far from the back, I had no option for fuel saving. It was run from now until the end of the race. Because there's so many positions to make up. Ooh, little bit close there. Stick it and keep from hitting the wall, and we're able to continue on. Lost a little bit more time to P3. He is catching up. Gonna go ahead and pit because we don't have an option here. Gonna throw those hards on, so that means we've got, let's see here, 4 laps. And we're gonna have to run these hards. Still a little bit of refueling left to do. Alright, stop it just after to make sure we have plenty. Alright, so now we know kind of closer to what our true position is going to be. We're going to get passed up for 6th. Guy behind us has got quite a gap. 11 seconds to the guy behind us. And if he's running any tire, if he's not running the hards here, he should be able to make up that in the next 4 laps. Not the whole thing, but we would hope, but at least some of it. So adjusting to the tire a little bit here, getting a little bit of wobble. That's alright, we're adjusting quick. What's important is that you adjust quickly when you get down onto these hard tires. You're not going to be able to take some of these turns the way you were taking them before. You're going to have a slightly different perspective where you're going to have a little bit more swing out in some situations. So you need to be able to adjust quickly. And usually I don't do that well at all. But I seem to be doing an alright job here. This is the part that scared me the most about possibly getting on them too hard. And you see I did a little bit there, but maintained just fine. And this is the other position that kind of It scares me. You don't have the grip that you had before trying to get through there. And that was real close. You just don't have that grip that you have on the mediums and softs. Alright. Now we've passed up this Mercedes before. Can we do it again? Excellent. P7's ducking down. We're gaining a position there. Just 4 laps to go. 3 laps to go, excuse me. Gaining on the Mercedes, gaining on the Mercedes. Still got the inside line, goes a little wide. A little too hard on the power there. So we're not going to quite gain any position. A little bit of a lift there, you still can't, because like I said, you can't take these turns as easy. Over brake ourselves, still just trailing behind the Mercedes. Really wanting to get this move done. There's 2.5 laps left. Looking up these S's, a little bit of a lift to keep from going over. Gaining, but not too much here. Was able to take this turn a lot smoother than the first 2 laps on these hards. Real close there again. Dangerous, dangerous turn on these hards. Gap behind us, sticking to 11 seconds, so that's excellent. Mercedes is pulling away from us a little bit here. It's going to be really important that we hook this turn up well so we can try to gain a few tenths and get within that slipstream, but looks like we might be able to get within it, but it just won't be strong enough and it won't be close enough to really pull us in by the end of the straight. I try to really focus down on this. Outbrake myself, still haven't quite adjusted to these hards. A little bit of a slip in the rear. And we're losing time to the Mercedes. So, a little sad at this point, but with only 2 laps left to go, and I'm sitting in 6th compared to last race, I'm prepared to take it and be happy about it. Catching a little bit of dirt there. The Mercedes there in front of us. So we're going to make a little bit of time on it because I think it compromised him a bit, but then we run the curve wide just a bit, so lose that time once more. Tell you what, the Mercedes did pretty well at this track, and the Mercedes in general, this is a good car in the AMG. I notice out of most cars, it's usually the car that gives me in the Nissan like a real good run for my money. Seems to handle real well. It's got a decent top end, and as you can see, because he's just pulling away from us here. He could also be running medium tires, which would help a lot. And it looks like P4 is dipped in. They're on the sauce, probably switching over to hards at this point, but are we going to be able to get out in front of him? Yes! Just in time. So now we just need to defend for this one lap. And we'll be able to take home P5. Hook up that inside turn well, hook up the second turn well, on the gas, and boom, we've already got a 1.5 second lead. So let's just let's keep it relaxed, keep it chill, keep it smooth, and make sure we don't throw this away. Through the chicane of death for the last time, hooking up the entrance fine. At this point, he's built up a 2-second lead. We're just not going to be able to reel in that fourth in this last third of the lap and making sure we're nice and easy through there. Don't want to mess it up, because if anything's going to set us back, possibly multiple positions right before the finish, it's going to be contact with that wall. Alright, braking smooth, nice and easy through, little wide, but on the power. We're going to finish it out on fifth. Much better showing than the previous race. I'm more than satisfied with that. That's a gain of 13 positions. For an FIA race, I'm so happy with that. But it just goes to show, if I could have just hooked up a good qualifying time, or even just a mediocre qualifying time, I think if I had finished somewhere in the top 10, that it would have saved me a lot of time, just trying to get up into that top 10, having to gain 8 positions, and maybe I could have finished on podium at least. Heaven forbids win. So, here's confirmation of the position. And, 13 position and a fastest lap. Not quite a clean race, a little bit of contact here and there, and going over curbs just a little bit, but at least no penalties. So that's great. No penalties, no horrible drama on any of the turns. Just a little bit of the general that you expect from touching walls here and there at the chicane of death. So, if you did like this, let me know. Give me a like, give me a comment. That's the best way to leave some feedback and let me know if you'd like to see more of this. I'm interested in doing it. I genuinely enjoy it.